Okay, I actually purchased a lot of flash drives, or basically 100 flash drives, or more than 100 flash drives from somebody on eBay, and I expected them to be, essentially kind of like this, where they're, supposed to be 2 gigabyte flash drives, but obviously you cannot, take anybody's word for, the real capacity of a flash drive anymore, because obviously, there's plenty of sellers on eBay that'll sell you a flash drive that isn't even close to being 2 gigabytes. So, okay, so what I'm going to actually do here is I'm going to I'm obviously a Linux user, and so what I'm going to do is like I usually do whenever I purchase any flash drive from somebody that I don't know, or they, so they could actually, the drive could actually be a fake drive, and so I just use Linux tools to actually find that out. So Linux actually has a software suite that's includes f3 write, f3 read, and then basically optionally you can install f3probe and f3fix, and this f3probe is actually what I use most of the time to to check drives. So what I'm actually going to do is actually just rerun this command to track the drive in. The drive is actually drive B, and then I'm going to just go ahead and run this command to track the drive, which should actually be a USB flash drive that's in SDB. So anyway, obviously this is going to be the output. If the drive is actually not a real drive, and so it'll actually say, oh, bad news, this device SDB is the counterfeit, or is a counterfeit of type limbo, and then it basically gives you the commands you can fix the drive or device using the following commands. So essentially, I can just issue this command, and then we can go ahead and fix it, or theoretically fix it so that it appears to be, the stated capacity rather than, or basically the real capacity rather than the stated capacity. So the real capacity would actually be what's in here, and so basically the announced size or the stated size is actually 1.88 gigabytes, or a 2 gigabyte flash drive, and so much space is actually used. But the reality is the drive is only really 128 or 124.63 megabytes, and that's all the space it actually has. So anything you write to the disk will only it'll only be able to write the first 124 megabytes before the rest of the data is just corrupt, because all it's doing is it's still theoretically writing something to the disk, but all the data after the first 124 megabytes just overwrites everything, itself, because there's no more space on the disk, and because the stated capacity is actually, like I say, only the stated capacity is 2 gigabytes, while the real capacity is only 124 megabytes. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and well, first what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you also. No, I'm actually go ahead and fix it, and then I'm going to shoot, and then I'm going to go back into Windows. Okay, so I reloaded the disk in Windows, and so we can look back at the the properties again and see what it says now. And so obviously, after I did the fix command in Linux, it actually just shows 0 bytes used and 0 bytes of free space. So obviously I have to format it, and so I'm just going to do a regular format and not a quick format, and then I'll just create a label. And like I say, I don't know, I haven't tried it, but since it's only really 128 megabytes, it's not going to take more than a few seconds to format it. So we'll go ahead here. So the format's complete, and then we can actually close out of that. Look back at the properties, and now it actually shows the formatted capacity as being 122 megabytes rather than 2 gigabytes. So actually, this is only Windows XP because I'm a Linux user and I don't really use Windows all that often. But so I just need to have something that loads fast. But anyway, as far as Windows is concerned, at least Windows XP, it's just a 122 megabyte flash drive. So we'll go back to Linux again and show that there actually might be some differences of what other programs actually see in Linux, and you can actually you might see something different. So we'll just so back to the Linux command prompt, and what I'm going to do is actually just look at the properties, and you can see according to the properties, if the the flash drive is never reformatted, it'll still show up as 122 or almost 123 megabytes, and that's it with the label that I created in MS-DOS. But there's always the possibility that so back to Linux, and I just wanted to show you that there's always the possibility that another program actually probes the actual hardware or the firmware on the drive, and will only see it as a 2 gigabyte flash drive because that's what the firmware says, and so it can actually format it to theoretical 2 gigabytes again. But obviously it would be silly because then it's just back to looking like a obviously it's a a fake drive, and it has more data space. It says it has more space than it actually does. So even though I can actually format it as a 2 gigabyte drive again, it's not going to make any sense for me to do that, because obviously then it's just going to appear as a 2 gigabyte flash drive, even though it's only a 128 gigabyte fake flash drive. So essentially, I guess I just show you the tools. So essentially I just wanted to show you the the tools that you can theoretically fix the capacity of a fake flash drive. You only show the real capacity, and in most cases that might be good enough. And so if I actually write like a small video or some application program, or maybe something like FreeDOS or something like that to the drive, it'll never use more than 128 megabytes, which is just fine. But then if the user tries to format it because they don't need the the other software that's on it, then know, it might just appear to be a 2 gigabyte flash drive again, when it's actually not. So I just wanted to point that out, and that's the whole purpose of making this video. And thanks for watching it, and hope to see you again next time.